I'm here with Tony. Today's May 1st. And we just like to talk a little bit about, how things are going.
Awesome.
Hi.
So I am honored to be here with you today. And one of the things that we want to capture from you, Bryan, and is the true Bryan. I always say, be yourself. And you know that already. And I got a chance to learn a little bit more about you, but I want everybody to know about you. And so, first of all, your lovely sidekick over there, Liz, as well as Bryan, they've been married for 37 years.
37.
So he actually remembers that. So 37 years points for you.
Yes.
And you've given your life to your family. You've given your life to your business. And we want to capture that in the few minutes that we have together. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your businesses and how the impact of this third shutdown has played for you personally, for you family, mentally, physically, and so forth.
Well, we own 3 restaurants. We've been in the restaurant industry since '93. And this whole COVID has been very difficult, not only for the restaurants, but for everybody. For the people that can't go out and socialize, to go to a restaurant, to meet with friends. And this fourth lockdown financially has been very difficult, not just for us as business owners, but for our employees. We have around 100 employees, and
3 restaurants.
With the 3 restaurants, yeah. And a lot of them were struggling just to pay their bills, meet their rent, put food on their table. And in the last one that really kind of drove us to the point where we needed to stay open was January 1. And we did that because of our employees. The time that
Tell me
it
about
took.
that.
Well, the time that it took for the government to roll out the unemployment benefits on the first go around, it was devastating to our employees. We were giving draws and doing everything that we could to help them, but they couldn't get assistance from the government because they weren't set up to handle the pandemic and the overload of people that were inundating their system with unemployment benefits. And so that's how we just decided that this time we were going to stay open, and it was awesome. Our employees were so thrilled. The customers drove into our business was just incredible, coming from across the state lines and coming from Brooks, Oregon, and coming from all over the place.
Yeah.
And we had hour waits outside of our building to get in.
Yes,
and
I was one of them.
No.
You didn't know that, but I was one of them.
Yeah.
At one of your restaurants, I was one of them waiting outside.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we're social creatures. We want to be together. We don't want to be isolated at home. And the mental health that has really been affected by these lockdowns, people haven't really seen the effects of that yet. And
Bryan, you mentioned something really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go back, because you had a vision for your restaurants. You had a vision for that to be a social place. Can you expound on that a little bit? Because it seems like you're really connected with the social aspect of a restaurant. I don't think we grasp that.
Yeah, I have 3 boys. They're older now, but we are community-based restaurants where I coached in the communities. I coached football, and I coached basketball, and I coached baseball, and we sponsored teams through the Oregon City, Estacada, Clackamas, Happy Valley, Molalla. We sponsored teams everywhere because the restaurant is a social gathering place, and people really love to come in and be part of a community. And the areas that we are in are really community-based. We're rural restaurants. We're not in the downtown or big downtown Portland's or downtown Oregon cities. So we get to know people personally, which is really, it's a neat experience because we know a lot about the families. We know a lot about the kids that grow up. I have kids that I coached in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade coming in now that are 30 years old, and I'm looking at them, and I know them, but I hadn't seen them for quite some time. And oh, hey, Coach, how you doing?
Yeah.
It's great to see you. Oh, this is awesome. And so the community is super important to our restaurants and to us personally.
Sounds like your employees are too.
If it hadn't been for our employees, we wouldn't be where we're at today.
Talk about that.
Well, I'll give you an example.
Please.
In 2017, July 23rd,
Yeah.
my
It's okay. It's okay. This is dealing with real life.
yeah, real life. Well, boy, I don't know if I can get through this for some reason. So we were coming home from a vacation over in Round Butte, and it was a sunny day, Sunday, hot weather, 7 o'clock at night, just about home. We were on our motorcycle. We had a Harley, and my wife was on the back. And we were struck by a car that was going way too fast in a head-on collision. Yeah. And obviously, we're here today. We survived. We got through it, which is great. But we spent quite a bit of time, about 4 months.
This happened in 2017.
2017. And so we spent about 4 months in a hospital and rehab and in a bed before I was able to begin to walk again. And geez, this is ridiculous. I think about this every day and I can't get through it.
Yeah. Sometimes talking about it helps.
It does. But anyways, I mean, after the accident, I really didn't go back to the restaurants that much. I worked, we were in the process of building a home, and I spent most of my time doing that and therapy and just, I got
Physical therapy?
physical therapy, and I just got absorbed in building that house. That was kind of my release from everything. Our employees were the ones that got us through this because, jeez.
I'm going to say this real fast. Wow. When I met you, I knew there was something different about you because you actually care about the people that work for you. That's authentic. That's real. And what you've given to them, they gave back to you in this time of need.
Yeah. Yeah, they stepped up. You know, they took over our businesses. We had a great manager at the saloon. My son was at the cafe, and they all just stepped up, and you know, they visited us in the hospital and in the rehab center.
Did you expect that?
You know, not really, but they were great.
You said to me, you said to me, what goes around comes around. You remember that? In our
did.
pre-meeting?
Yeah.
What you put out, you get back.
It's so true. Yeah, they kept our businesses up and running, and they took ownership, and so that's why we opened January 1.
You know what? Just the last question here. If you could look into that camera and say anything you would like to without repercussion to people that could possibly see this, we're hoping that Kate Brown actually looks and views it as well. What would you say?
What I would say to Kate Brown is, you know, I'm sure you have a lot of very knowledgeable, very intelligent people working around you. We've seen other states that did not close down and who are thriving, and their businesses, their communities have not been affected as poorly as the state of Oregon has been. There's no reason why Texas, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Iowa, these states have thrived. Sure, you know, nobody wants to see death, but death is reality. We have suicide in Oregon. Yes. A little over 90 people commit suicide a month. But we're not stopping that. Drug overdose. Look at our drug overdose. How are we doing with that? What are we doing with the homeless? You know, when we're on national TV every night because of the riots in Portland, you think that was not a super spreader when you got 15,000 people laying arm to arm on a bridge and you let that go on? That's terrible. We go and we travel to other states. I'm embarrassed to say I'm from Portland. I say I live on the outskirts. Portland was once a beautiful place. Those business owners, people that I know that own buildings in Portland, they don't know how to recover. We have no direction. Now our mayor is finally begging for help. We need to support our police. They are not the criminals.
No.
There's bad eggs everywhere in every industry.
Yeah.
But we need law and order, and we need leadership.
Yeah. And I think that wraps up that. I had the benefit of knowing and getting to know a good leader who cares about the welfare, not only of his employees, but customers that frequent your business. And you're very right on a point that is dear to my heart, is mental health. And you get what you get when you isolate people.
Yes.
And so I'm glad that you are creating a space for people when you're able to have the socialization that they need, that we need. And so thank you so much for being with us and waiting with us as we're getting ready.
Absolutely.
Bryan, thank you. And Liz, off camera, thank you as well. And that just wraps up this time.
All right.
together.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. Man, my hand's always cold for some.
Yeah, hey, cold hand, warm heart.
Yeah, this one's warm, this one's cold.
We deal with a lot of people who are suffering from anxiety, depression, and all those other things. And so how as you as an employee handle your own mental and emotional health?
I have to take into account on how my husband is dealing with everything. I think for the most part, my anxiety comes from him. I love him so much, and I know he puts so much into the bar. And so does his mom. You know, they go through a lot with it. I see the stress that they're under constantly, and it never leaves. We'll have moments when we're happy and laughing and it's great, but the next minute we turn around and it's a worry of what are we going to do next? What's the next shutdown going to affect? How are we going to get through it?